5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Brenda with Talk to Me with Dion, Brenda, and Jackson, and we are minus Jackson today. And I want to introduce you guys to our lovely guests. We have Miss Raven Drummond, and we have Mr. Handsome Ray
Lavender.
Thank you. And as always, Brenda is forgetting names. We were just talking about that, so you guys don't hold it against me. And I want to thank you for tuning in with us. We're going to find out what they're doing today in the entertainment business. Georgia, as we know, is hopping and popping. And we know that in this business, with us growing, we having some growing pain. So we have some industry insiders here that can tell us what to expect. So, on my right, my co-host.
Hello, how y'all doing today?
And on my right also.
Hi, everybody.
And here on my left, I am here with Ray.
Mr. Lavender.
So, Raven,
Yes.
today since we're here with you, we want to know, you are not only a casting director, we want to get our minds off a casting director. Guys, she is a writer, she is a producer and a director in her own right. Tell us about some of your projects.
Yes, so I last year I created a project called Brooklyn Blue Sky,
Yes.
which we sold to BET, so you can check it on BET.com and the BET app right now. But I also created a project called Good Girls in 2014, which is on my YouTube page. And then, what else? And so right now I'm working on a season 2 for Good Girls, and I just finished a sizzle reel called Before I Met My Wife. And so those are the 3 projects that I'm working on right now.
Okay, and before we get back into Raven's project, Ray, you were actually singing, loving singing. We love your songs, but you also do acting. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing these days, so we can have questions from both of you guys.
Well, coincidentally, my first big acting thing was with Raven over here. She booked me, and Lord knows I didn't even think I knew how to act. And I got Mark Swinton, one of the producers for Tyler Perry, actually loved what I did. And I auditioned, I got the job because of Raven. And that's my very big first thing was with Tyler Perry. Now, I'm still singing. I got records on the radio, still doing my thing. I'm working with Missy right now, which is a big old thing for me. But I got picked up on this Amazon Prime TV, this new series called Music and Murder. And I play an attorney that's an entertainment attorney that can sing, of course. and Q Parker is my nemesis. He has a lady that I want. And she wants me, so that's what a little triangle goes in. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing some acting and still some singing.
Oh, yeah. So, guys, as you can find out, you can start in the singing industry and go into acting. I can't do either one, so we're going to move on. So I have to ask other people about their, desires and dreams.
Yeah.
And
One question I have for Raven is, what inspired you to do Brooklyn on Blue Sky?
Honestly, I just missed being on set. I missed being on my own set. So I had directed, a friend of mine wrote a play, and I directed it in November 2016. And once we finished with that, he's like, I really want to do like a web series, and I want you to help me, let's create it together. And so that was the inspiration for it. It really just came out of a need to just do my own thing and create my own opportunities. So,
Nice.
Yeah, as an actor, I understand that because when I'm not performing or doing something, it's like I
You
got to
miss
be on
it.
set.
Yeah,
you
you
know what I
miss
mean?
it.
It's like you got to create, even if you have to create your own, just to be still in that mode.
Yes.
It's like you got to be. That's a true actor and a director and a casting director. Anything that comes with the acting, it's like if you really love it and it's your passion, it's like you got to be around it all the time.
Yeah. For sure.
now, something interesting Ray said, and I definitely want to keep everybody on the note that you're directing and casting, and you were one of the co-creators of Brooklyn Blue Skies. But something you said that was very interesting, I remember Ray. I went to see him at the Fox, and there's nothing like a woman scorned. Hell has no fury like a woman. Let me put it in the title. And I remember sitting there, and my husband like. So, but he said he auditioned for it, and that was a major role for you. As an actor with no experience, what recommendation would you give them when they're coming in? I know they say be prepared when you go in, and a lot of times you have cold reads, and we know how cold reads go. Vaughn has done cold reads. So, what would you give as advice in auditioning?
Oh, I could talk about this all day. I think I always tell actors auditioning is a craft in and of itself. So you're going to take acting classes and you're going to be on set, you're going to do plays, but the actual craft of auditioning is something completely different. Because I understand that I'm putting you in a situation where you don't have enough tools. I'm not giving you a scene partner, I'm only giving you a couple of pages, and I'm not giving you a set, but I'm saying, create this world and make it feel real to me, but I'm only giving you a very small amount of information. So for me, the best auditions are when those actors, I'm reliant on your own imagination and your creativity. So when you create the environment, when you create your own backstory, when you make me feel like I'm an audience member and not someone who's judging you, that's the best audition.
Oh, wow. So, good advice. And Ray, I gotta ask you this because you play an entertainment lawyer that sings. Now, me can't sing. I can act like it. Now, going in that, because you have that musical background, was it easy for you to kind of adapt and flow into this character?
Absolutely. Well, working with people like Tyler Perry. See, one thing about theater, it's a lot different than just regular, movies. You get to say and cut. You know what I mean? I was thrown into theater, so that right there, I mean, I had to embellish my character. I had to give, even if I didn't know his backstory, I kind of had to give him a backstory. So with this guy, I kind of just gave him his own backstory. Like I'm living as him. When I'm on set, you only get to call me James. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And I understand why now that you only want them to call you by the character. It's because you want to live through that character, that's
art of method acting.
And I didn't even know what that was until, and like Tyler said it one day, and I'm like, man, I don't know what none of this story is. He said, so what's your backstory? I was like, well, I'm from Monroe, Louisiana. And he said, no, not you. He said, your character. And I still didn't understand what he was talking about. So that's just how green I was to acting. But when they give you these roles, you gotta embellish it. You gotta make this character you. And that's the fun thing about acting. You know what I mean? You can. One thing I learned from Tommy Ford, the late Tommy, he said, hey, Ray, first of all, they paid you already.
Right.
Give you exposure.
Right. Second, you don't want to look like the buffoon or the clown on TV. You want to look professional on this TV. So with those two things, you kind of get it together. And on top of that, you got to know your sides. You got to know your lines. You know what I mean? So
that's the main thing. If you don't know nothing, you better know the lines.
That's right. Sure. Tyler said, if you don't know your lines by tomorrow, you'll be frying fish in the morning.
You know what's funny? Because you were saying that your big role came on theater, and it's so different from film because you get to say in film cut. I actually started in theater, and I do a whole lot better in theater because I get to improv a lot more than on film. And so I thought, coming from theater, I said it's gonna be easy because them actors, they get to edit all that stuff for them. Oh no, it is not easier.
Oh, no.
That was my mistake,
Oh, no.
and I had to learn the hard way. That because I was like, okay, what you mean? I didn't get a call back? No, you didn't get a call back. So stuff. See ya.
Yeah, with film, there's so many more restrictions that you have as an actor.
Yeah.
You know, like you have to stand in a certain place. You have to be aware of your lighting. You know, you have to be aware like there's cameras all around you, and you're still trying to be real. Whereas with theater, there's a little bit more freedom. You know, you can just kind of like use the space and be big and whatnot. With a film, you still have to have the same intentions, but it has to be so, you know, so intimate. So.
In theater, is no cut.
Right.
So it ain't no room for messing
gotta
up.
make it work.
You got to make it work.
And a lot of nights while we were on the play, I mean, when you get it together, the first couple of times, you practice it, but then when the people get there and that fourth wall is there, you can't really you can't look out there for one thing because they got to look like they're looking at a TV. But it gets it gets real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got somebody looking at you right here.
Yeah.
And they're making noises and they're saying things, and that's not what you rehearsed.
Yeah.
So if you do something sexy and the lady say, "Oh my God," you gotta keep going.
You gotta keep going.
That was me. He heard saying that, and he heard my husband saying, "Shut up, you embarrassing me."
Another great thing that while doing theater that I noticed is you help by improv, you help your castmates out.
Yes.
Because it can be it was one play I did called Karma where I was arguing. I played a stuttering handicapped guy.
Oh my!
and so Rodney Vincent is actually and he was to play the pastor. But it was a scene where I'm arguing with these two midgets, right? And my two guys, Roy and Troy. And so they paused, and so I said, "Why y'all so quiet? The cat got your tongue, you know what I mean?" And it kind of brought the audience, but it helped them get back into the because they lost their lines. But that's another great thing that you can actually they can piggyback off you.
Right, so fun. Yeah.
Now, Raven, I have a question for you. Brooklyn Blue Skies, I love it. I love Good Girls, don't get me wrong. I love the natural feel of God, but I love Brooklyn Blue Skies. I grew up in the era where my mom, she was soap opera.
Oh, wow.
And I remember I used to get away with everything when it's soap opera. So what I do is since I have some little midget running around here. When I don't have the grandkids, I get to catch up and binge. And Dee got me binging. Our director, Dee Maley, got me binging on Brooklyn Blue Skies. How did you come up with the ideas of the characters? That is...
You know, we wanted something that was contemporary. We wanted something that was close to us. And so me and my partner Dewey, you know, we're both writers. And so we wrote about these two writers who were, you know, lovers in college and then come back years later to write a pilot for Netflix. And we see, like, one, what has happened in the 10 years that they haven't been together, and then two, like, what secrets they had that they never really addressed. So I think whenever you're writing, like, if it's close to you, it's easier to write. You know, it's easier to pull from. So it helped that we were both writers, you know, when we did that.
Okay. Now, what's funny, you said that it helped. Now, a lot of people are shocked when because I like to do film, I write films that have a lot of action, and people look at me and it's so deceiving to them. They say, "Action, you?" And action, when I gave a guy my script, I said, I'm never going to hear from this guy because he kept looking at me, "Action, you?" And I handed him the script, and when he called me back, he said, "Okay, you just give me the film to match the script, and you sold me."
Yeah.
And so it takes that imagination. And for instance, the female writer in your strip, and you were saying about the unaddressed relationship, and you're sitting there, and I kind of envy her because, you know, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how did you actually... Is part of that the personality, your alter ego personality into
A little bit. I think with that, it was more of us, like, putting ourselves in that position and also, like, getting to the core of things. Like, I may not, you know, our lead character is like this, you know, New York socialite type girl.
Yes.
So I'm not a New York socialite, but what the core is, like, I have dealt with, like, heartbreak, you know, or I have dealt with maybe not telling somebody how I really feel, you know, and so, like, that's what we're really going for. Or like with Before I Met My Wife, which is a sizzle reel, like, it's a completely male-led cast, and here I am, this female who's, like, very much girly, and I'm like, how am I going to make this feel real, even though it's coming from a woman's perspective, So yeah.
Now, that being said, the sizzle reel. What people don't understand is when you're looking at actors, the guys that you were to look at, like the male actor in there, and you're saying you want, when they're auditioning for you, to not look at you as judging them, but get in their imagination into that character. A lot of actors that are out here in Georgia get criticized because they say, well, actors from Georgia don't measure up to LA actors, which is not true, because I've worked with a lot of, so how, because sometimes you go in feeling like you're behind the 8 ball already, being from Georgia, because the minute you hand them that sheet and they say, oh, Georgia, what do you tell an actor going into that situation?
Keep going. And what I mean by that is every single show that I've worked on, usually it was where the series regular roles, so like the really big roles, were only auditioned in LA. But every single project I've worked on in the past 5 years, we've auditioned those roles in Atlanta. And I always say, find the working actors that are actually making a living off of their work. So there's this one actor, his name is Steve Coulter. He's been a series regular in The Walking Dead, you name it. He's done all these incredible credits, and he's from Atlanta. And I'm like, you need to find him, and say what did you do to get these series regular credits as an Atlanta-based actor? But I will say, those who have studied, who've really worked on their craft, they rise to the top, and they're the ones that they keep on getting cast, for multiple projects. So,
You know what's funny? Before I used to hate to hear method actor or, this is the person that you play best. And I'm like, but if I'm acting, why do I have to be that person? And it was so funny because I kept telling, why do everybody see me as this angry white typecast? But it was like, this is the role you do best. And so being in that, you're saying own it.
Own it.
Own it.
A good friend of mine, he's 6'6", and he's booked 11 or 12 projects, last year alone. But he always gets called in for athletes, bullies, and bodyguards. And I don't know many actors that have booked that many projects last year, but he knows his type. And so because he knows it, that is his wheelhouse. That is what he keeps on booking time after time.
Yes. Now that's something. Now, Ray, hey, if you get an opportunity, I know you're not going to turn it down saying, oh, I don't want to be a singer, right?
Absolutely not.
Because I definitely want to see you in another place and that swinging and singing. Oh, my God.
Ray,
okay, Eric, I'm sorry.
I have a question. So, by being a singer, what is the stuff do you have to do to train your voice? Because, especially when you're doing stage plays like that, I know how it is for us to go out and have to perform, but what do you do to save that voice?
Oh man, that's an amazing question. When I was out there with Tyler, now, and Raven knows this, that we do 8 shows a week.
Right.
Okay, and I have to sing them songs just like I sung it on the first week. The first day all the way through the week. You know what I mean? So they give you tea and honey and all the stuff that singers do. You know what I mean?
Natural remedies.
But me, honestly, man, I'm always singing. I'm always singing. I'm always doodling. I'm always practicing with my voice. So I think that's why my voice is consistent as it is. I'm always doing a show. I'm always somewhere singing. So I think that helps out a lot. Just like when you're working out, you're working on a muscle. It's if you continuously work on that muscle, of course it's going to stay strong and that's what I do. I'm always singing. I eat right. I don't smoke. I don't drink. So I take care of my body. I'm always working out and doing the proper things. So I think that helps out a lot. And when I was on tour, I got sick one week. When you're on tour, you go from cold to hot sometimes. And I got sick, and I couldn't even talk. Nothing would come out of my mouth. But I've had vocal training, so there's singing and then there's technique.
Right.
Technique was taught to me. You can't teach me how to sing. I already know how to sing. But technique is when you lose it. So now you're using. Now you go from the stomach, and you gotta give it. You gotta support it with a whole bunch of air. So on those days, on that sick day, I had that one sick day. I went on vocal rest, and I pushed a lot of air out of my stomach, and it happened. I couldn't even talk, but by 8 o'clock when the curtains was, I sing the first song.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was ready.
And to Ray's credit, like, you know, with the Tyler Perry play, it's not like Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Oh,
like, you
no.
are singing like to the highest range and loud, and so for you to do that every single night is definitely an accomplishment.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and it worked. It made me a better singer too.
You bust my bubble. You just said you can't, you gotta be a natural with singing. I thought I was gonna pay me somebody some money.
Oh, it's over. It's over.
Now, Raven, I want to get back to you a minute. You said sizzle reel. Tell us about this sizzle reel.
Tell us about this sizzle reel.
Yes. So the show is called Before I Met My Wife, and it's about 3 male writers who anonymously write a blog called Before I Met My Wife, and it's about all of their everything, conquest and life and masculinity, but the reason why they're able to write so candidly is because nobody knows who they are.
Right.
And so the reason I did a sizzle reel is because I wanted to save some money, but also because I want to pitch it. So I wanted to pitch it to different networks and whatnot that have the budgets to fully develop it. You know, for me, I can do a web series, but for me, doing 8 30-minute shows, I don't have the millions of dollars that it would take to do that. So, yeah.
Now, as a writer, director, and producer, I do understand when you put it, people get the misconception when you say, "Oh, I'm a producer." They don't realize you're putting up your funds. You got to get the funds from somebody.
Yes.
Now, once you put up your funds, you are the producer. You're the executive producer. Have the control. Now, sizzle reels. People don't realize when you give someone a sizzle reel, if they buy that product from you, because your strip is a product, then sometimes you lose that control. And I know you get asked this a lot of times. When is your next audition? When is your next audition? Can you explain to them, hey, this is how this happened with the network. If they get it, they may say, I funded.
Yes. So, like, you know, with Brooklyn Blue Sky, for instance, like, we would love to do another season, and we want to do it. But it's like, who's gonna fund it for us? You know, like, who's gonna give us the money for it? So, you know, so for us, if I had tons of money, I would be on set every week and we'd have constant projects. But I am not there yet, you know. And the same thing with auditions. A lot of it is based on, okay, like, we get a script. You know, people like, I have an audition for you in a while. It's like, well, I'm only auditioning 12-year-olds right now. You may be like, in your 50s or whatever it is, and so we just don't have the role for you right now.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
And go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
gonna say, I want to tell us something about Good Girls. We didn't get a chance to hear
Oh,
about
goodness.
Good Girls. We want to hear about Good Girls.
Good Girls is probably the one that's closest related to my life, and it's just about like 4 women in Atlanta, like living and, you know, exploring their own everything. And so I did it. It was really my first project. I wrote, directed it, produced it, craft serviced it. Set design, you name it, but it was an awesome experience. I learned a lot. I will say, like, I needed to do it just to learn what to do right and what to do wrong. You know. So
We're going to take a break, guys, and we're going to come back with Miss Raven Drummer and Ray Lavender over here, and we're going to find some more information out about the industry and what they're doing and their current projects and where they see themselves at in the future. Thanks for joining us. Peace. See you in a little bit.
We'll be back.
do we wrap it up good? No. Oh, this is good.